Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Crushing Land. Happy to be with you here today on this late summer day. Hopefully, it's as beautiful where you live as it is where I am. Just enjoying this day, but wanted to come to you with another relevant land investing question, particularly one that a lot of beginners get hung up on. And that is that they hear something that somebody, maybe an educator or a guru or whatever, puts out there, and they're so dogmatic about it. And they're like, should I listen to this? Is this the information? Is this the strategy that I need? Being able to not get hung up in that, but then at the same time, having an open mind, being able to think about things, being flexible to adopt new ideas. And we're going to kind of talk about that a little bit, and we're going to break it down and explain it and give some examples and things like that. So, for those of you that have followed me for any amount of time, have done anything that we teach or anything out there that we put out there, one of the things that you know is that we use many different strategies and teach many different strategies to different people out there. And we basically tell people that you can use all of them, you can use some of them, you can use them in conjunction with each other, you can focus on what works for you, a lot of different things. So, for example, one of the things that is taught very, very strictly out there is basically using only blind offers if you're doing mail, only using blind offers because basically you're avoiding a marketing step. So, only use blind offers. Or I know there's other people out there that basically teach not using mail at all because they say, well, direct mail is expensive. That is the most expensive form of marketing. And so they say it's a complete waste of time. You need to be going out, you need to be getting a list, you need to either be texting people or doing cold calling to them or something like that, whatever it may be. And that even goes further into like integrations and things like that, because I've heard of people using like different platforms that are out there, and they'll basically say like, there's no point using this one is far superior, you need to be using this one, going to this one makes absolutely no sense. If you're not using this one, then you're making a mistake, and you need to avoid what you're doing over here, and things like that in different arenas. So those are some dogmatic things that are often put out there. And I will say that I wouldn't say dogmatic, but I do have very strong preferences to certain things that we talk about. So, for example, I am a firm believer in direct mail and still use it. Is that the only thing that we use? No. But as far as quality marketing goes, in my opinion, and what I've seen and what's been tested, not just by me, but by people over and over and over and over again in a lot of different marketing arenas, direct mail is your most quality piece. I also do not teach using blind offers like others do. We do use blind offers. We've used them very extensively. We've used them very successfully. However, we don't use them right off the bat. We use a targeted approach with our blind offers, and that's something that we teach to get a much better result. So, there are things that I feel strongly about and that I teach and that I implement, such as that, but it's not you can't do this, you can't do this, you have to do this, on and on and on and it goes. And so when somebody is very dogmatic about their approach, what it can do is one, it can create confusion for you, especially if you are new in this business. You could sit there and be like, okay, if I don't do this, I'm not going to succeed. And that is a mistake because there's a lot of different ways to be successful in this business. And one of the examples that we give all the time is that, yes, we teach and we believe that direct mail is the best dollar for dollar marketing source out there as far as quality goes. However, we use other things in conjunction with it as follow up. But a big but that we put out there and tell people is sometimes that's too big of an expense for people to get started. And there is cheaper marketing. Are you going to get as quality of deals? Are you going to get as many deals using other methods? No. But you may be able to get one quicker. You're going to get it cheaper. You're going to be able to get the ball rolling. So we are not dogmatic in saying you have to do this. The same comes when it comes down to platforms and things like that. When it comes down to platforms, when it comes down to integrations, people are like, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to use this one. Don't even look here, do this. That's not true, right? There's a lot of different things out there that achieve the same result. Now, you want to be looking at cost, you want to be looking at how compliant they are, you want to be looking at how much help they actually offer, how much do you really need it. There's a lot of different things to be looking at, but you don't want to be dogmatic with that. Now, the other thing that I'm talking about here is being flexible as time goes along. We've implemented that. We've been doing this for a number of years now. We've done over 1,000 deals. We've been doing this for over a decade. We've taught people for many years now. And not that long ago, all we used was direct mail. We said straight up, just only use direct mail. Well, why was that the case? Well, first, reaching out by text wasn't even an option. That wasn't a thing that existed. You could cold call people in the past, but it made zero sense in the land business. Now, we did it in houses, but it made zero sense in the land business not that long ago. Why was that the case? Well, a couple different reasons. One, cold calling didn't have the tools and features that it does now. So being able to actually get those things and be able to reach out to people was much more difficult. Two, skip tracing cost a whole lot more not that long ago. So actually being able to get out and get the numbers to be able to reach these people wasn't super effective. And then on top of that, you put in those two things together, the information that you actually got, particularly for vacant landowners, just wasn't good. Right? You were not being able to skip trace and get quality leads. So the information that you had, it was basically a bunch of numbers that were disconnected, didn't work, things like that. So there was absolutely no point to use it, especially since we were getting 14, 15, 18% response rates on our letters at that point. It was obviously the best bang for the buck and it made no sense to go elsewhere. Well, that's not true right now, right? So as time has gone along, we have become flexible, right? We're not dogmatic about these things. We were always flexible, but we've embraced other things. Some of them have existed a long time, right? Cold calling has existed a very, very long time. It just didn't exist in our arena that much. Now it does. And now we can use that where appropriate. Same thing with mass texting, right? It didn't really exist. It wasn't even a thing not that long ago, but it is now. And so you can reach out to these people. And again, you can choose which ones that you want to use and which ones you don't. So just be wary of people that are basically very dogmatic about approaches and say like, it has to be this, it has to be this, it has to be this to be successful. I know for a fact that isn't the case. We had one of our group coaching calls just last week. We were talking about this and it was amazing in that group. And I actually made the statement to the group of students that we were working with. I said, if you don't get anything else out of this call, it's showing you how much potential there is for different types of deals with different approaches, to basically get the same result, which is to have a profitable land business. And we were talking about so many different approaches as far as how you handle the property itself, how the property was obtained, the marketing to the buyer, to the sellers, then to the buyers, all of these different aspects. And it was all over the board. And yet everybody in that call was doing things a little bit differently based on their individual criteria. And yet they were achieving the same results. And that wouldn't be the case with a dogmatic approach. So just be wary of that. But yet that brings us to the next point of don't be dogmatic, but be flexible, right? Don't dismiss people that are dogmatic as saying like, oh man, don't go to that. Well, they're only saying this, so I could never use it. They're only saying I have to do this, so I can. No, that's not true. What they may be saying is the only way. That's not true. It's not the only way. It's not the only thing, but it could be a thing. It could be something that you want to add, right? So you don't want to just dismiss things. So if you want to have the best business possible, if you want to have the best way of being successful, when you hear people that are giving dogmatic advice, you want to avoid that advice. You want to not do that. You don't want to just take that singular line, but you want to have an open mind. You want to be flexible and you want to entertain those things and bring them in if appropriate. And again, anybody that's followed me over the last decade has seen that in my own business. I'm very open about our own business and the different ways that we are doing things. And if you've seen it, if you've been watching, you've seen, hey, this is something that he's done. He's actually changed approaches or adapted or done different things, whatever it may be, to enhance the result. Not a singular approach, but being flexible over time as new things emerge. And that is one of the things that I talk about up and down in this business is you've got people that basically are non-relevant anymore, right? They taught this business years ago. They're really not doing the business anymore, so they don't really know a whole lot about these additional approaches or how to teach anything. They can look on videos like this and they can say, oh, I'm going to start talking about that because I need to keep my audience. but they really don't have any insights into them because they're not doing it. Conversely, you have the people that just don't have the experience yet, and they're out there and they're talking about these things, and they're very dogmatic about this is what I'm doing and this is the way you need to be doing it, and on and on and on. But that's because they've only been doing deals for a year or two or three or whatever it may be, and they've only had that singular approach. So they can only talk about a singular approach when you've only used a singular approach. So that's just something that you need to look at, right? So again, the key here is, especially for you new people and even people that have been doing this for a while, for newer ones, right? Avoid dogmatic advice. Look at it. Think, is that something that I can use? Does it make sense? Will it help my business? But don't look at it as the single only thing to do, right? Focus on, can I be flexible and can I use different approaches? If you've been in this business for a while and you've basically been stuck in a rut and you're just going down the line, you've been basically doing the exact same thing for the last number of years and you haven't changed as times have adapted, then you need to ask yourself why. Why haven't I changed at all? Why am I staying in this singular way of doing things instead of being open to maybe some of the advice that's out there? Again, not adopting that idea of only taking on that new one, but if you've got a different way and you hear two others and it may make sense to bring them all together, then why would you not do that? And that's one of the things that we teach up and down. If you look at us, if you look at our course, if you look at our information, all that, we don't teach one way of doing things. We show you different ways. We show you how to use them in conjunction with each other, how to add more layers on. And that is really the key to being successful in this business, right? It's about multiple approaches, multiple touches, multiple ways of doing things. And as you get those layers deeper and deeper and deeper, you're going to get better and better and better results, and obviously have a better business because of it. And that's what we focus on. So again, just helping you to appreciate that as we're going along here, right? Don't adhere to like that singular dogmatic advice, but at the same time, be willing to listen to different things out there because it really could help you to grow your business, add those layers, and be that much more successful. So thank you very much for joining us on this episode of Crushing Land, and we'll catch you next time.